What's going on, Muscle and Strength? Don Saladino coming to you from the barn, and I'm gonna walk you guys through 6 movements that you have to have in your training. All right, these are 6 movements that to be a functional athlete, to be able to optimize at a very high level, these are an absolute must. Okay, so the first movement now is the squat, and I'm gonna demonstrate using kettlebells. Now, why do I love kettlebells so much? First off, the position that the bell is gonna be in is gonna be a double rack position, and your abs, they're gonna get fried from this. Your hips are gonna open up. So this isn't only a very safe way to train the squat, but it's also a very effective way. What it's gonna look like is we're gonna get into our clean position and we're gonna hold it in that rack. Now notice that when I am in the rack position, I'm gonna be driving my elbows down into my rib cage, okay? And I'm gonna be engaging my lat. So if you were to turn around and grab my lat, it's gonna feel almost like I'm doing a row or a pull down. It's gonna be really tight. I'm gonna set up like I'm hiking a football, and it's gonna be immediately into our clean position. Now, setting my feet a little bit wider than shoulder width, I'm gonna drop down into my hole. Now notice, my back is completely flat, stable, driving. Quads, hamstrings, glute, core, and you know what? This is interval training. My heart rate's going through the ceiling, and then in between my set, I'm allowing it to recover, relax, and get back to a specific point where now I can go and I can repeat that set with an optimal level of quality. All right, moving into our second movement is our hinge pattern. So I'm gonna use the kettlebell swing today, one of my all-time favorite exercises, because we can literally kill all 5 components of fitness with that, okay? And what is that? Muscular strength, muscular endurance, cardiorespiratory endurance, body composition, and mobility. So this tool right here, we kill it all. Now, I'm gonna give you one term. Guys, you'll be able to relate to this. You're playing chicken with your goodies. Okay, any ladies watching this, we just wanna make sure as we're lowering the weight that we're moving our hips out of the way so there is no contact, okay? We do not wanna make contact here. Now, before we get started, there's 2 things I need to see that everyone can do. First thing is a kettlebell. We're gonna go with a little bit of a wider stance, almost like a sumo deadlift, where we're gonna hinge, standing up. Notice how my body's tight at the top, my glutes are tight, I am not arching my lower back, lats are engaged. Hinge. We want to go through our deadlift, and we also want to be able to do a plank, a hard style plank. Now, if you look at my lower back, I am not arching it. That is incorrect. My hips are level, my glutes are tight, and my lower back, there's no strain on there. And I'm trying to literally rip the floor apart. My entire body's engaged. So if we can do those 2 movements first, then we are cleared to do our kettlebell swing. An exercise like this in time is gonna help us with our posture. It's gonna help us develop stronger glutes, stronger core, a much stronger posterior chain, which is everything back here, okay? This pattern is an absolute must. Third movement now is gonna be more of our lunge split squat pattern. Everything we've done so far is bilateral, which means it's off of 2 feet. Now, we have to start doing things that are gonna require our foot, our ankle, our knee, our hip, all to stabilize a little bit differently. All right, and incorporating that balance into our training is gonna allow us to be healthier, but also put on a lot of muscle and stay very well rounded. So I'm using like a rear foot elevated split squat pad here. You can use a chair, you can use a bench at your gym, it doesn't matter. This is what it's gonna look like. So I can get into this position and start with no weight. This is gonna be more of a knee dominant movement, which means that knee will come forward a little bit. I don't mind that. So notice how I'm dropping into the hole, standing up, back down. Shoulders are back, spine is slightly tilted forward. I am not completely upright. That's gonna put too much weight on the back leg. Now, if we didn't have access to this and we were doing just a basic split squat, the movement's gonna change because I am gonna try and keep that knee tibia vertical. That's the way I like to coach it. That's why I like to coach them both differently. And standing up and lowering is gonna fulfill the same need. Quad, hamstring, glutes, the translation, how this translates into my squat, my deadlift, just sport in general. There are very few sports where you're performing that with 2 feet on the ground at all times. We're gonna transition now into an upper pushing movement. Now, an upper pushing movement, I like to define as either 2 different patterns. We can either go with our vertical push, which is overhead, or our horizontal push. So today, I'm gonna choose a horizontal push. We're gonna go with a barbell floor press. I do believe in training in a full range of motion, but the floor press is almost establishing some sort of a partial repetition where I can train at that depth. So I'm gonna unrack it here. We're gonna lower until my elbows touch, dead stop, and then from here it's explode. For those of you who might have pec strains or specific issues going on with your shoulder, always consult with a physical therapist first. But sometimes training in this partial range of motion can eliminate some of that soreness, some of that discomfort. We're doing something called a dead stop row here, okay, which means we're literally gonna rest the bar on the ground every single rep, and we're gonna go from a dead stop position. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get into my hinge position, and if you notice, my back's not gonna cave in. I'm going to keep my back flat and my shoulders retracted and my lats engaged. This really turns into a full body exercise. But man, did I feel my lats in there? Did I feel it working on the thickness of my middle back, okay? Now, because we are going from a dead stop position, it might make you think, well, we're not keeping constant tension. It is hard to pull something from a dead stop position. It's like getting back into that floor press. We're going from that dead stop position, which isn't allowing you any swinging, any momentum. So much has to go on right now with maintaining a proper spine position, to strengthen my legs. This really is a movement I like incorporating into a lot of my training because a lot of times during the year, I am focusing more on that power building approach. Okay, I do like starting with that movement that's gonna enable us to get stronger, get a bit more powerful, and put muscle on. All right, movement number 6 is a carry variation. It is a moving plank where your entire body has to brace, and we're working on those tension techniques. So the most standard of all carries is called a farmer walk. So we're gonna pick up a heavy weight and we're going to walk with control. We're not sitting here running around with speed. That's not how a carry is. A carry needs to be controlled, focus. And if you're someone who's in school or incredibly tired and taxed from your work schedule and you have a high level of stress, I think maybe training with more frequency and lowering the volume and lowering the intensity a little bit might be exactly what's in store for you. If you have any questions, fire them off to us below, or you can check out my website, donsaladino.com. I'm always here to answer questions, and I hope everyone found that very helpful. Thanks.